I have been binge watching Minecraft ARG videos for some time now, especially when I'm drawing. They are kind of like the face of Minecraft horror in a sea of videos already playing horror mods. But I'm not here to beat around the bush by praising the genre. I love it, but there is a glaring issue that I've noticed, and maybe you have too, whether you're a creator or an avid watcher. There is a lack of female protagonists in Minecraft ARGs. And I'm not just talking about representation done through adding one to tick off a box. I mean the narrative perspective of whose experience the story follows and whose eyes we're seeing the horror through. And I kind of understand why. But before that, we need a brief rundown on what Minecraft ARG videos are and how they work. ARGs are interactive unfiction stories often presenting themselves as mysteries for viewers to investigate across multiple platforms. This is a technique known as transmedia storytelling. But the average person like you and I don't have the time to go out of their way and solve ARGs. That's why we have ARG YouTubers who do all the explaining and investigating. Minecraft ARGs are no different, with the setting being in Minecraft. I don't know if this is just within the Minecraft ARG space, but there are YouTubers who are both investigators and curators of ARGs. So, back to the main question. Why are there little to no female protagonists in Minecraft ARGs? I can only make an educated guess, and honestly, it's a pretty simple one. There's this idea called male as default. I'm not gonna go too academic about it, but I first came across it through Invisible Woman by Caroline Criado Perez. And the basic idea is that a lot of what we consider normal or quote-unquote universal is actually based on men's perspectives. So when something is male, it's treated as neutral. But when something is female, it suddenly feels more specific or niche, even when it really shouldn't. The biggest example I could give is healthcare. A lot of medical research and data has historically been centered around men, which means women's health ends up being under-researched or overlooked. Even things that are obviously specific for women, like pregnancy, haven't been studied as much as you'd think. And I believe that mindset carries over into storytelling too. It also doesn't help that most of the people creating and analyzing Minecraft ARGs are men. And to be clear, it's not their fault. People naturally curate from the perspective they're familiar with. So in Minecraft ARGs, and honestly, just stories in general, protagonists tend to default to male without people really thinking much about it. And yeah, I know, feminist insight, shocking. But I mean, given the topic, what were you expecting? As Minecraft ARG videos have evolved from their early nostalgia phase to more emotional and conspiracy-driven stories, and now maybe even to a more classical and philosophical phase after Wifies Searching for a world that doesn't exist, one thing hasn't really changed. Most of these stories are still told through the same default perspective, the male perspective. The reason I care about this is because I don't just see Minecraft ARGs as YouTube mysteries or content. I see them as a storytelling medium within horror. And horror, out of all genres, is one of the best at exploring the experiences of marginalized people. That's why we have feminist horror, black horror, queer horror, stories that take fear and filter through very specific lived experiences. So even though this video started with women, I want the conversation to be bigger than that. I'm not here to tell people how to integrate these perspectives, but I do think they can do two really important things for the genre. First, they can recontextualize the stories that we already have. And second, they can introduce completely new ones. Let's take Sinners as an example, mainly because I recently just finished watching it. Don't worry, no spoilers. The movie has vampires, and they aren't anything new. We usually see them simply as manipulative and charming, blood-sucking mythos, but in this film, directed by Ryan Coogler, the vampires became an allegory for colonialism and cultural assimilation the Black community has historically gone through. That is how powerful perspective can be. Now imagine what something like that could look like in Minecraft ARGs. Because the genre has already explored so much: psychological horror, existential horror, government conspiracies, and even cosmic horror. There's no shortage of ideas, but I honestly think that if we don't address this lack of perspective, marginalized experiences in horror are just going to be underused in this space. And before someone brings it up, I should probably talk about the Minecraft ARG but parody genre, because I can already hear it. But there is representation, just look at the parodies. And I get that. Some of those parodies are actually really good. They tell interesting stories and they do explore perspectives that you don't always see in the mainstream scene. But if the answer to the lack of representation is to just go look at the parodies, then I feel that's a little off to me. Because it kind of implies that these perspectives belong in a separate space, instead of the genre itself. And we shouldn't need a completely different format just to see those stories. They can exist perfectly fine in regular Minecraft ARGs too. If anything, the fact that they work so well in parody just proves that the genre already has room for them. And yeah, I know, it might sound a little silly to be this passionate about Minecraft ARGs and representation, but honestly, I think the reason it feels lacking is pretty simple. We just don't have enough creators from different backgrounds making these kinds of stories yet. And that leads me to my call to action. Anybody can tell universal stories, but not everybody can tell stories shaped by the experiences of being seen as an other in society. And those perspectives matter. So if you're a woman, a queer person, or anyone who knows your voice doesn't usually appear in this space, and you've ever thought about making a Minecraft ARG or start doing content creation in general, maybe this video can be the push you need to start creating. And if this video somehow reaches to established creators in this scene, this message is for you too. You're not forbidden from telling stories from perspectives different from your own. Anybody can learn about experiences outside of theirs, and honestly, it would mean a lot if creators with larger platforms helped foster a more inclusive creative space, whether that's by telling new kinds of stories or collaborating with smaller creators who bring different perspectives. Because Minecraft ARGs don't need more of the same mysteries, they need new perspectives to tell them. And I want to share something that Starthork posted during International Women's Day. Don't let the lack of representation hold you back. Feel free to share your thoughts or even ideas on this topic. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider giving it a like. I can't promise I'll make more videos exactly like this. I still want to focus on art and gaming content too, but if you enjoyed my presentation and want to see more, consider subscribing. I'd also love to hear your requests for future videos. And that's it. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Also, this script was made before Jumper, whose first project made a video. Please check her out, she's really cool.